In today's video, I'm going to show you the exact structure that myself and other Aussies have used to pay off their home loan faster and put ourselves in a much more stable financial position. If you're wondering who I am, my name's Richard Morgan. I'm the founder of Freedom Funding, a mortgage broking business based in Sydney's East. I've been a mortgage broker for over 8 years and a property investor for over 20. Over that time, I've had over $1 billion in financial conversations, structured hundreds of home loans, and personally tested what actually reduces interest and shortens loan terms in the real world. This video breaks down the exact principles I use myself and with my clients to pay off a home loan faster without earning more or taking unnecessary risk. Now, full transparency, I am a mortgage broker, so you might assume my job is to push people into more debt. But the reality is it's the opposite. My goal for this video is to give you information that you can use to help you make better, more informed choices for your financial future. The stronger and more stable your position is, the more options you have. And my role is simply to help you navigate those options and support you along the way in the easiest and most sensible way possible. So if you're looking to buy, whether that's investing in property or buying a home, feel free to book a call with my team and I at Freedom Funding so we can assess your personal situation and see if we can help. And before we get started, I just want to preface this by saying that none of this is financial advice, just simply information that may be helpful to you to help make your own decision. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. First of all, in order to understand how to pay off your mortgage faster, let's move back to why people don't pay off their mortgage in the first place, because there are a host of reasons. But usually it comes down to two things: money management and discipline. The most straightforward, lowest risk way to accelerate a home loan is simple. Either make additional repayments or build up funds in your offset so you reduce interest and shorten the loan term. Here are some basic tactics that genuinely help. Set a robust household budget and stick to it. Use multiple offsets so you can separate daily spending from savings that you don't touch. Make additional repayments while you still build your offset. Review your rate regularly so you're not overpaying interest for no reason. But where most Aussies miss the opportunity is this: they stop at budgeting. They never use investing to amplify returns over time, then use those investment returns to pay down the home loan faster. But here's the thing: in order to pay your home loan faster, first you need to understand the rule that changes everything. And that rule is that interest is calculated daily. That means the day-to-day location of your money matters. If money is sitting in an offset, it reduces the interest you pay that day. If it is sitting in a separate account that's not linked, it's doing nothing for your home loan. So the objective is not just saving, it is keeping your money in your offset for as long as possible. That means your savings account should live in the offset, not in a random account. If you do bucket budgeting, use multiple offset accounts if your lender supports it, or move to a lender that does. Which brings me to an effective optimization I use to keep money in the offset for longer, which is using a credit card. If you have the discipline for a credit card, this is a great tool you can use. Use the credit card every day for spending, where it doesn't incur additional fees, of course. Good news is that most credit cards will have an interest-free period. If you direct debit the balance in full every month, you keep your cash in the offset longer, which reduces daily interest for longer. That is a real measurable hack that's real you can use. So to recap what we just went over. If you think your mortgage is monthly, you're already losing. It's actually daily. Interest is calculated daily. So where your money sits day to day changes how much you pay over decades. This is why it is extremely important to find ways to keep as much money as possible into your offset account. This can save you a significant amount of money over the long term, which would be way greater than the return that you can get earning interest in a savings account. And the reason why saving interest through an offset account is more powerful than earning interest in a savings account is simple maths. If your home loan is 5% and you park money in an offset, you're saving at 5%. And that saving is effectively post-tax because you are reducing non-deductible interest that you have already paid for after tax dollars. If you put funds in a savings account though, you might earn 4%, but that interest is treated as income, so you pay tax on it. And at a top marginal tax rate, considered broadly, that can almost halve the net return. So for most owner-occupiers, the offset is a better engine. Plus it's cleaner, Most people think that only adding small amounts to your offset won't make a difference because of the size of the loan. But here's the thing, you have to understand that small streams make big rivers. On an $800,000 mortgage, contributing an extra $100 a week either as an additional repayment or by sitting in your offset can reduce your loan term by around 5 years and 7 months. That'll save around $170,000 of interest over the term. That is not because $100 is huge, it's because the compounding effects of time are huge. Now that you understand the core idea, how daily interest works and why offset savings are so powerful, the focus shifts to how you structure your offset accounts. Because this is where organization meets execution. The goal is simple, stay in control while balancing your short-term lifestyle with your long-term financial goals. To do that, I use a 3-level offset system. Just to preface this section, this only applies if you're with a lender that actually allows multiple offset accounts. So first, check whether your current lender offers multiple offsets, and if they don't, it may be worth considering moving to a lender that does. With that said, here is my 3-level offset structure. Number 1, salary offset. This is your primary offset. All income lands here. You build in as much as possible. Number 2 is bills offset. All bills will come out of here. You keep a buffer so you don't get caught short. And number 3 is discretionary offset. This is lifestyle spending. Fund it monthly, spend from here, and don't freehand it. This works because it creates discipline through design, not through willpower. And the way it works is your salary offset becomes your do not touch zone. Bills offset becomes your predictable outgoing zone, and discretionary becomes your guilt-free spending zone. When people fail with offsets, it's because they bucket everything into one. So savings end up getting raided. This system stops that. And before you worry about admin, here's how you automate the entire process. Every month, income goes into the salary offset. You then set up automatic transfers using a bank's internet banking. To bills offset, the expected bills plus a 10 or 20% buffer. To discretionary offset, your monthly lifestyle budget. So let's look at an example. Salary might be $10,000 a month net. Bills is $4,000 a month for the mortgage, plus $1,000 for bills and a 20% buffer, so $5,200 per month transferred to that account. And discretionary is $1,500 a month transferred there. In total, that is $6,700 spending. $3,300 ends up staying parked in the salary offset, building momentum. Some bills are lumpy, quarterly, or annual, so build this from an annual budget view and smooth it out. As a bonus, if you have discipline, you can run your everyday spending through a credit card and pay it monthly, which is great. But if you've had a track record of not being financially disciplined, avoid them until you can prove to yourself over time that you can. Credit cards, if left unchecked, can cause you to build bad habits. A lot of people spend beyond their means because they are not monitoring spending or they detach from reality. Don't be one of these people. Unless you can stick to spending limits and pay it in full each month, it is better not to use them. That said, once you have built the financial discipline, paying everything in full each month smooths things out nicely. So to recap what we've just gone over. So if you want to pay off your home loan faster, this is the offset structure that actually makes it happen. First is your salary offset. This is the main account. Every dollar you earn lands here first. You want this balance as high as possible because this is the account reducing your interest every single day. Next is your bills offset. All your bills come out of this one. You keep a buffer in here so nothing ever catches you short. Then you've got your discretionary offset. This is lifestyle spending. You fund it monthly and you only spend from here. No freehand spending, no guesswork. And the reason this works is because your money sits in your offset for longer, which means the bank charges you less interest every day. And over time, that adds up to huge savings. It's not about budgeting harder, it's about structuring your money once and letting the system do the heavy lifting. Now that you have clarity on the daily interest rule and control through the 3 offset system, the next lever is behavior. Because structure works, but only if you stop sabotaging offset number 1. So let's talk about discipline and the fail-safes. So why do people sabotage offset number 1 and how do you prevent that? Lifestyle temptation is number 1. Unexpected costs are number 2. And look, there is no magic bullet. The best protection here is setting the budget robustly from the start so surprises don't wipe you out. If you're someone that struggles with budgeting, try this mental hack. Have a think about the objective that you're trying to achieve. Then try to understand your reason for doing that in the first place. Then connect that why to an emotional feeling. If the goal is early retirement, imagine the moment you've actually achieved it. What are you doing? How do you feel? Take a clear snapshot of that scene and lock it in your mind. Every time you feel like breaking the habit, come back to that image. If you're able to fully connect with that feeling, you'll never cheat on yourself. The same applies if your goal is more freedom, less stress, or more control. If you can connect to that feeling strongly enough and make it more powerful than the short-term temptation, you'll stop cheating on yourself. Structure helps, but identity decides whether it sticks. If you struggle with money habits, no structure fully stops you from spending. But there is a more hardcore option. Make additional repayments into the loan account and turn your redraw off. That reduces access to that money. But just be careful. If you have genuine unexpected costs, you need liquidity. So do not create a system that makes you fragile. If you are wondering which banks allow multiple offsets, there are at least a dozen lenders that offer multiple offset accounts. From majors like Westpac and Macquarie to smaller lenders like Kudos, there are plenty of options. If your bank only allows one offset, you can still mimic the structure, but you won't get the full benefit. There are more complicated ways that some lenders allow, like putting a salary into the loan account and redrawing it to manage spending, but it can become a mess quickly. If you stick with one offset, you'll still need to have more discipline. Often the cleaner move is choosing a lender that supports multiple offsets if this strategy matters to you. Another question people ask is, do all the offsets link to the same loan? And the answer to that is yes. Now another question people ask is, does the frequency of your repayment matter? My answer is if you're using the offset properly, repayment frequency does not matter because the offset achieves the same outcome. The only time repayment frequency really helps is when you don't have an offset. In that case, paying more frequently can reduce the interest slightly because money hits the balance sooner. Another common mistake is thinking fortnightly repayments are a magic bullet to repay your home loan. No, fortnightly repayments are not magic. Structure is. Now, if you're someone who is still considering whether or not to use an offset account or redraw, well, think about it like this. Offset is your money. Redraw is the bank's money. Redraw is whether you've paid extra into the loan and you can request access later. But here's the key. Banks can reduce redraw availability. They can sweep the redraw funds and reduce the loan size. And if you do a search, you'll see that this has happened in the not too distant past with lenders like CBA and ME Bank. Offset is different. It's a separate account. You can move funds in and out and the banks cannot touch these funds. So offsets give you flexibility and control. Redraws, on the other hand, can create tax problems if you turn your home into an investment in the future. If you pay extra into the loan and redraw later, the ATO can look at the purpose that you've used those redrawn funds for. So if the redraw is used for non-investment purpose, it can potentially create issues around deductibility later if that property becomes an investment. So best practice, if you're even half considering turning the property into an investment property one day, is to avoid this and focus on using offsets. Offsets maximize flexibility and minimize tax mess. If someone has an extremely simple setup and wants minimal fees, has no ambition to invest or build wealth through property, redraw can be fine. Some basic loans are cheaper with fewer package features. For that person, redraw might be preferable. But for anybody who values flexibility, optionality, or wants to invest later, offsets usually win. So to sum things up, should you use an offset account or a redraw account? Well, both can reduce interest on your home loan, but they work very differently. With an offset account, your money stays your money. It sits next to the loan and reduces interest daily. You can access those funds whenever you want. With a redraw, you're putting extra repayments into the loan itself. It still reduces interest, but access to that money can be controlled by the bank. That difference matters more than most people realize. If you care about flexibility and control, and keeping your future options clean, an offset account usually wins. Now there's one more thing that you have to consider, which is the offset account fee the bank charges. So here's how you calculate whether it's worth paying. First of all, it is important to consider that there can be benefits beyond offsets in package loans, but the simplest way is quick maths. If the annual fee is $395 a year and your rate is 5.25%, then having over $8,000 sitting in that offset over the year can break even, because 5.25% of $8,000 is $420. So if you keep more than around that balance in your offset, then you're ahead. So if you break that down to a minimum balance, in that example, around $8,000 average over the year, your numbers will change based on the fee, the rate, your average offset balance, but the principle is simple. Many people also wonder how $500 a month could change the loan term. So let's look at an example. Say you've got a $500,000 owner-occupied mortgage at 5.25%. An extra $500 per month, either into the offset or as additional repayments, can reduce the loan term to around 21 years and save you $164,000 interest over the term. Again, time does the heavy lifting. Now, the two factors you may want to weigh up are paying off the home loan or being fully offset. Now, my preference is to usually maximize liquidity. If the loan is fully offset on P&I, it'll amortize down to zero over time with no interest cost. On interest-only repayments, there'll be no repayments at all. Either way, you keep flexibility. If you pay it down to zero and then close the account and later want cash, you need a new application with the bank and they'll reassess your situation and ask you why you want the funds. Liquidity is optionality and optionality is power. Now that you know all of this, here's how you can take it to the next level. Once you've built a strong offset position, it may be worth considering investing to generate superior returns over time. And you do not need to have a massive offset balance to begin exploring options. But do not just pull money out and invest blindly. You may be missing a major opportunity or create tax structure issues. This is where principles like debt recycling can help you invest in a more tax-effective way while still accelerating your home loan repayment over the long term. I made a video on this, so I'll leave a link for that in the description of this video if you want to go check it out. Otherwise, if you want help implementing this properly, choosing the right loan structure and mapping out what the numbers look like for you, there is a link below to book a chat with my team. On that call, we will have a proper look at your loan, your offset strategy, and what you can realistically do from here. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and I hope to see you in the next one.